virtual green room right now. Anthony Volpe is with us, and maybe he's traveling somewhere exciting. He is behind TripTogether.com, which is such an intriguing social platform now. That think about that. Trip Together, connecting travelers from all over the place, talking about trips, recommendations, all that kind of good stuff. So without further ado, let's hop over to Anthony. Hey, Anthony, thanks for coming on the show.
Hi, Kate. Thanks for having me.
So tell me, there's a lot to talk about with TripTogether.com, but overall, tell me the idea behind the website.
Yes, so TripTogether.com was launched in March 2013. As you mentioned, it's a social communication platform for anyone interested in travel. And members can share travel stories, find travel buddies for upcoming vacations, gain valuable knowledge from locals. And really the reason that we did this, and we made a website as well as an app for Android as well as Apple devices, is to provide the best user experience for travel enthusiasts around the world.
Yeah, and as you know, especially with executives, they have a ton. I have a ton of friends who are speakers, and they have all kinds of concerns when they're traveling. What seems to be the main concerns when people are traveling, especially abroad?
Well, what we see are three things, besides the obvious concerns that they have about doing well on their business trip. But, number one is how am I going to fill in the extra spaces in my time, for example, in between my meetings and conferences? Another one is there any way to make the business trip also feel like a mini vacation? And the third one is there a way to get authentic travel experiences like a local might recommend instead of just doing what normal tourists or business people might do?
Wow. And so this website provides all that, right? So if I go somewhere, how does it work? If I go somewhere, do I share that on the site?
Well, you can. What you can do is you can reach out to locals in the city or country that you're traveling to and also share your experiences. But basically, the insights that you can get are, the places where locals love to eat, where tourists don't necessarily know about. They can introduce you to relevant people as well, so you can turn a business trip into also a networking type of event. And also, you can get get a travel companion to take you to the pertinent local sites to see.
Yeah, what are the benefits of that? What are the benefits of, first of all, of traveling with someone instead of by yourself?
Well, most obviously, number one, you're not alone or lonely in a foreign place, so that's a great advantage right there. Second, it usually makes it safer. Third, I would say that you're able to share the experiences together both at that time and also forever afterwards. And related to that is that, really, and I think we all know this intuitively, the shared discovery of new experiences, especially when you're traveling abroad, yields a more enriching experience together.
Yeah, for you, I'm curious because I've got to assume that you've traveled a bunch of places. Do you have a favorite place?
Actually, I love traveling to Russia. I've been there 11 times now.
Wow, 11 times to Russia. So you've got to know Russia pretty well. So if somebody's going to Russia, you're the man to contact, right?
Well, it covers 1/6 of the world's land surface, so I can't say that I've been a lot of places considering the size. But you could reach out to me on Trip Together and find out if I have any tips.
You know what I love, too? At your website, you've got this. How do you find travel mates? You have show off your hometown to talk about. So if I want to show off my hometown, things that are there that you were talking about, locals, that other people would have no idea about because it is obviously a different experience. It's not always in guides. It's not always out there and easy to to find. And another thing that you talk about is sharing your travel and discussing your adventure. So that's part of it, right? And that's part of the buildup for Trip Together. The more people participate, the more that you can offer to folks who check in with Trip Together, right?
Absolutely. Well, right now we've got over 300,000 members from over 150 countries and 11,000 cities. So, yes, what you mentioned, what we would call technically the networking effect, the more people that join, the more valuable it is for everybody. Absolutely. So we've got, all these people, all these members sharing their travel experiences, whether it be in text and in terms of stories or whether it be in photos and so on. So we've got a real rich experience for anybody wanting to understand more about travel.
Does there seem to be a place that more people are going lately? Is it Europe or Asia? Because that's on your site, too, of course, North America, Latin America, or it's just all those places.
What we find is that there are unexplored places, especially in Europe, that people are traveling more to, especially the former countries of Yugoslavia, for example, Croatia, as well as Montenegro and so on. So these are places that formerly were behind the Iron Curtain, way back when, and as time has gone on and the Iron Curtain has lifted and people have been experiencing more, they're going to those places. And also there's an uptick in what we're calling more authentic travel experiences, where they are, when I say they, travelers are going to places that are outside the normal tourist zones and into places where they can get more authentic experiences with locals.
Yeah. Wow. I think that's really cool. So how do you do that? How do you find a travel mate? If you want to, hook in that way, how does that work? People go to the website and click on just simply find travel mates?
Yes, people can go ahead. It's super easy and free to register, and you can go ahead and put in the place or places that you'd like to travel to and search for a travel buddy. So it's really that simple. And based on the number of members that we have, which I mentioned was over 300,000, you're very likely to find somebody in the place that you're going to, or maybe they're already there and they're local, or maybe somebody's traveling there looking for a travel friend as well.
All right, I love it. Again, it's TripTogether.com. Anthony Volpe, thanks once again for coming on America Tonight. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me, Kate.
All right, so pretty interesting stuff. If you actually go to the website, it's pretty easy to navigate. It shows you Europe and Asia and Australia and Africa, etc. And the boxes are easy as well. If you want to feel like a native, as Anthony was talking about, that makes sense. So you're not in the tourist traps and you're more in those authentic places. I love that idea, especially because I would be one of those people. When I go somewhere, if you went to, I'll just take a place, if you went to Spain, Madrid, I have been to Madrid many times, there's obvious spots you would go to, like the Prado Museum, but there are so many other cool spots in Spain that you wouldn't find if you didn't necessarily know. And as all of us know from our own hometowns, things constantly evolve and change. It's just like places to eat. I know in my neighborhood or in a 10-mile radius, there's always some cool, new, hip place, sometimes mind-blowing, that opens up that there's no way you would find anywhere in your searches for something different and something off the beaten path or whatever. So I love the whole idea of this TripTogether.com, just because of the amount of options you have, where you can go down, look for something authentic, the whole travel thing. You're trying to figure out where to go, and especially now more than ever, because there's so much you could miss. I think if you just know the basics and you just have that map in your hand and the few big spots. So very, very intriguing, I would say. And I also believe that travel is on the uptick again. I don't know the exact numbers because it depends on who you talk to, and it depends on the airlines and all of that, because numbers seem to be different. But I think that more people are traveling, and more people are traveling either with kids, or they're traveling solo, or they're, as Anthony said, they're on a business trip. And all of a sudden, especially if there's some place where they had to come in early, they've got time to kill, and they're not going to sit in a hotel getting ready for a meeting because they have a whole day, or they have a giant chunk of the day anyway, and they want to go and do something. And even pick a place in the United States like Washington, D.C. or wherever, and it's not that you can have the typical experience. There's so many other things that you can do instead on the side. So what a brilliant idea to pull all that together in all different forms, so you can find people along those routes, whether it's overseas or whether it's here if you're listening to us in the United States. And since we have so many listeners in other places, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or for our friends in the Caribbean, just even earlier this week we talked to Michelle in the Caribbean, and I know a lot of you are listening to us out there. You get it because you see what happens when the tourists come in and where they head, and you know the better places, that's for sure. So anyway, check out TripTogether.com, TripTogether.com. Hang with us, much more coming your way on the flip side here on America Tonight.
guess you never noticed what went wrong. 'Cause what went wrong will hound